Hi, my name is Shipler. This is one of my very first videos that I'm doing for training and for marketing, and just to help people maybe have a better understanding of how to get things going in real estate. Basically just trying to help in the process of this kind of crazy journey, crazy ride that I've taken from moving from Florida to Colorado. I'm here in Colorado now in my office, and just sometimes seems strange that I'm even here. I've been here now this is my 4th week. So what I'm trying to accomplish now is I'm trying to just get situated, settled in for the areas that I'm going to market to, and also start designing and producing the marketing pieces and marketing materials. Most of the things I'll be doing will follow one of my mentors, Craig Proctor, who was #1 with Remax for 15 years. I'm going to pretty much follow his stuff to a T. I just wanted to kind of go through and share things with you as I produce them and give you, my personal outcomes of these things. And so this is the first video. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a unique postcard to accompany offsetting my newsletters that will go out monthly to my farm areas. So basically what my postcard will be is a 2-sided large postcard. Basically it'll end up being like a half of an 8.5 by 8.5 by 11. So I guess that's 8.5 by 5.5. I guess that's right. Yeah, 8.5 by 5.5. So anyways, it'll be half of a regular piece of paper folded in half. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get 2 benefits from this. I'm going to try to get one for the buy side benefit and one for the sell side benefit. Okay. One of the things I learned in direct marketing is that if you're putting very specific properties on a postcard, then that has to basically meet the needs or meet the desires of a specific person at that time. And so, I don't like doing a just listed card. For me just seems insane. That's it. Because maybe somebody will want to buy that house, but I've showed 50 houses to a buyer and they didn't decide what they wanted. So, what's the likelihood of having just that one property that's on that card be the one that a buyer wants? Okay. And I know that just listed cards are also geared toward sellers and sellers in that community, showing them that, hey, I sold this house. I think that's fine. I agree with that. I do. I totally agree with that. But I think that there's a misconception. Okay. I think that when you're sending out a just listed card like that, it just doesn't have any shelf life. You could get a lot more mileage for that same 50 cents to $1 that's costing you. You could get so much more for that. You could send out a 4-page marketing newsletter to that area where you're asking them to raise their hand and tell you their story. That's way more powerful to me. And maybe that's not now business either. But if you can capture their information, and again, on later videos, I'll explain how I intend to do that. But I think that the asset is capturing their information. I don't think that there isn't an asset. I think it's only a liability if you're sending out a postcard just listed or just sold. I think that's a liability because there's no asset related to that. There's nothing tangible. Okay. And so one of the errors that I made in real estate period was I didn't understand that concept. I didn't understand that there's an asset to be had. And the asset is that person's information. So it's either their cell phone number or their email address. Pretty much that's it. Because there's no other way to get inside that person's home without having an email address or a phone number. That's it. When you send out a just listed or just sold postcard, of course, you're getting that inside their home. But you're not really, there's no asset. You incurred a liability. You had an expense, right? But you're not gaining an asset from that. I mean, maybe there's some stats, and I'm sure there are, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100. It's probably more like 1 in 5,000. I don't know. So let's just say it's 1 in 1,000. Postcards that you send out, somebody raises their hand and says they need help. Imagine the power of just sending out 100 newsletters and having 10 of those people go in for a free report, or go in and watch a video about something, or some way to some free report on the 27 best tips on selling their home, or a free report on how to stage your property properly, a video on what other sellers in the neighborhood have said about them selling their home in the neighborhood and how their experience was. What buyers are saying that are bought in the neighborhood, what their desires are. I want to be close to the park. I like a really groomed yard. I love this house because it had a porch swing and it spoke to me. I don't know. I'm just saying, if you don't give some kind of value, you're just going to have an expense. So on the postcard, one of the first things, there's two things I'm going to do. One is a newsletter, and I'll come back to that on another video, but this postcard, I think it could be unique. It's going to be a two-sided postcard, and basically all it's going to have on it is, for the selling side is just going to be your home sold in 120 days at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it. Think about the power of that, right? Your home sold in 120 days at a price agreeable to you, or I'll buy it. Okay? So you're not a seller. Maybe you're going to give this information to somebody else. I don't know. I probably would if I knew of somebody that was going to sell, right? So let's say that you're not a seller and you're a buyer. So you flip the card over, and now you have the buy side information on this, which is, if I don't save you at least $10,000 on the purchase of your new home, I'll pay you $2,000. That's interesting, right? Because what that does is it asks the person, what comes to mind for the person is, how can he do that? First off, how can he buy my house if it's not sold in 120 days at a price agreeable to me? And then on the buyer side, if he doesn't save me $10,000 on the purchase of a home, he'll pay me $2,000? Well, I think I'm interested in that, okay? Now just digest that for a second and think about the power of that. If you're looking at buying a property, you either, one, don't like me at all, and maybe you've seen my picture and you think, that's not gonna work for me, I have no idea. Or that just, you think that that's some kind of slogan or gimmick or something maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure of anything right off the top of my mind that would tell a buyer not to call that person, because their interest is my interest, right? And my interest is their interest. Meaning, if I don't work my butt off to save them $10,000, I'm gonna have to pay them money, right? Wouldn't a buyer want that? I think a buyer would say, that's interesting to me. If that guy doesn't help us save as much as we possibly can on that property, he's gonna pay me $2,000. That's interesting, right? So I think that's what I'm gonna do on this postcard. I'm gonna have a two-sided postcard. One is when you sell, and then on the other side of the postcard is when you buy. And so it'll basically just be a two-sided postcard. Of course, it'll have my RE/MAX Alliance information on it, and my information and stuff. And my phone number and email and those kind of things. But I don't see why somebody wouldn't call on that if they have any inclination of buying or selling property.